So I was just simming ahead to get ready to film this video, which was finally going to be about things that I look at during a match when I go into the match analysis and that sort of thing. I'm just breezing along in my BATE Borisov save, and this guy comes up. Oh my god. He's got all the potential in the world. Like, we're gonna sign him. This is actually the most creative intro accidental video I think I've ever made. The plan was to make a video about how to react to what's happening in a match. I'm assuming I'm just going to film that right after this one. But we ended up having a guy coming through our scouting report, me playing through this BATE save, which obviously I have. We used to play it on Twitch. If you want to check that out, it's down in the description. But playing through it, this one guy came up and beautiful. This is a guy we want to add to our team. We feel like we should spend the money for. Then there's this other guy, 4.5 gold stars, Jurgen Yanuzi. And then we just put on a master stroke in terms of negotiating. And I think we're sitting on a video idea here. How to handle deadline day. Let me finish this negotiation first, because this is not what I scripted. This is not what I was planning on shooting today, but it's probably really interesting. Not probably, it is. Let's see what kind of contract he's looking for. Let's do a scale back. Think of a star player at a year if he'll take an impact sub now. This has got to work, right? The reason I wanted to get him on impact player is because an impact player doesn't have to be registered for the Champions League, where squad player does, or they'll get mad. Now, an impact player, I have never had an impact player get mad at me for not registering. Whoa, impact sub. I've been saying impact player. Reese will make something pop out that makes me look like an idiot for saying that. Impact sub. Never had them get mad at me for not registering them for the Champions League. He will not have been at the club for 2 years. Obviously, by the time the next Champions League rolls around, even though he's under 21, I will still have to register him or not. I don't want to, because right now he's not very good, but we see this potential. We see it down in the bottom corner. This on a team that is as good as my BATE team is, you know, Champions League contender, top level every year. That is very rare. There are not a lot of players that exist in the world like that, which is why you're sitting there going, well, why is he paying 42 million for this guy? Because I think he's got a chance to be one of the best strikers in the world. I have to get to him now. I cannot delay, because if I do, he needs a ton of development, and West Brom is not going to give them that in this universe. But in the real universe, I'm sure they will be able to when they get their own Jurgen Yanuzi. So let's remove all that stuff. Ask the general manager. My general manager's very good, trustworthy. No shortage of nervous moments. I think he's going to be mad about this. Yeah, I knew it. I freaking knew it, man. So he put a sell-on percentage of 20%. We're going to remove that. I hate that. That means that 20% of the transfer of your sales goes to him. So it just like leaves the game universe. 20% of the sale doesn't even go to another team. It's not a sell-on clause. It's like a he gets the money. So no, we don't want that. We do, however, have a ton of wage. So I am more than happy to go up another $1 million per year for this 18-year-old. I'm betting on my scouts here. I'm betting on my previous knowledge of the game. The fact that he's fickle is good. It's very high ambition. It does mean that he wants big contracts. He likes big contracts, and he cannot lie. It means he would want a bigger contract. He'll want more playing time, but it also means he's going to develop better. Please, for the love of all that's good and holy. Oh, thank you. Always take part in your deadline days, by the way, because that's going to allow you to keep your finger on the pulse of what is happening more. If there's sufficient and appropriate interest, then we will make that move. Now, to how I ended up thinking of Jurgen Yanuzi. Now, go to your scouting, and if you work like I do, this will be in scouting and shortlist, and you'll be able to pull up a shortlist. You go over to this wheel up here and you pull up anybody that could potentially be interested in a transfer at all, and you just start sorting by things, right? You sort by this, you sort by that, you sort by that. You get a couple of different people that pop up to the top. You look at the potential required asking price to get somebody on the team, and you can see very clearly that there is one obvious choice of somebody I should be bringing in, and it's the one guy that popped up in our scouting report. There's another guy, Wes, who could be useful, but here's the thing, he's not actually that good. He must just be in really good form to have his stars be that high according to my scouts. I usually just look at the age column and scroll down. Are you missing anybody? We got a 16-year-old here in Jeffrey Chi. Oh my, we might have another one. Are we gonna steal? We're gonna do it. We're gonna steal him from PSG. Before I get distracted by attempting to steal this man from PSG, if you don't use shortlist, you can go to player search and do the same thing. You have the same options, right? And if you go here from general info to scout transfer, it'll pull up your scout's opinion on them. You can then sort by the columns, allegedly. I don't use this very much. I know that it works. Like, there should be, I have requirements. I have left backs. Oh, I have left backs with expired contracts. Nobody with an expired contract is going to be scouted by me. So we'll clear that. We end up with like a bunch of players, but then you can run it off of the player search as well. There's only 139,000 options. It's less than 140,000, so we're okay. That's my deadline day activity. I'm searching for players I might have missed coming through my scouting reports that I should go and put an offer on. And one of those guys that I missed was Yunuzi, who I remembered. Yunuzi does not want to join me, but I've been trying to sign that Jurgen Yunuzi guy for a long time, and now is time to go. And it's 16-year-old Nigerian with a accurate picture. I promise I'm working on a new regen face pack. And we're going to try and steal this guy from PSG. Now, when you're negotiating on the deadline, they know it. I would recommend trying to keep track of your shortlist before that, but the advantage of negotiating on the deadline is that you do not have to wait, and typically other teams are not going to be able to interfere. The deals are done very quickly. Obviously, the Belarusian deadline in the middle of March is not a normal deadline, but the deals will still be done quickly for you. You can look over here. He does not have any release clauses. We're going to remove profit from next sale stuff. Well, better luck next year. What about this Sasha Michelle? Is all PSG? They're stealing him out of the cradle, man. The cradle. It's ridiculous. Another one. I don't even want to look. I don't even want to know. Don't tell me. The other advantage of deadline day, by the way, is that your scouts are going to come back with reports a lot faster. So if you do want to complete scouting reports, it just takes into account this extra bit of operation that your scouts are basically working 24 hours straight on deadline day. If you go to scout priorities and put somebody at the top, they're going to be able to get those reports done faster on deadline day. Also, this used to confuse me. When you see this notification on the calendar, the transfer deadline day is the day before that notification. The notification is telling you that that day on midnight, which is just dumb way to do it. It should just say transfer deadline day on the day before, but the notification is telling you that day on midnight should transfer deadline day. So don't get fooled by that. I'm sending this guy out on loan. Make parting comments. Have a wonderful time. We signed him. Yes. Time to dance. Boom, big deadline day move. Let's go. So unhappy with the high volume of quickness training. He's soft. Transfer offers for Kamal Allah, my Sudanese winger. The Sudanese Premier League. I feel like no. The third flight of Belarus. No. The third flight of Belarus. They're getting real frisky with this whole third flight of Belarus thing. His ability went down a half star. My opinions vary. They do. Where did the home button go? I just moved on the home. Why'd it go all the way to the bottom? Doesn't make any sense. We got them both, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them both. Jurgen Yunuzi. That's such a large amount of money. It's actually the biggest transfer deal I'm ever going to do. But I've always said you have to be decisive, and deadline day is a perfect example of that. You've got the clock up in the top right corner. I feel like a lot of times in Football Manager, it's not as pressure-packed. I try and avoid it being as pressure-packed as it is today, but you see how quickly the report comes back from Jurgen Yunuzi on deadline day compared to any other time. I made that offer for Jose Leonardo a week ago, and he got back to me on deadline day. Yunuzi, I made the offer on deadline day, and he's already back with it. So it's an efficient way to do business But when things start to go against you, they can also go against you the same way. I'd recommend checking out the video about how to save your players if you're on the other side of this. If you're West Brom in this situation and you're trying to save Jurgen Yanuzzi, this is the most money I've spent for a player that's just bad. He's legitimately just bad. I'm investing in the fact that his potential has been unequivocally, since he was 16 years old, his potential has been identified as 4.5 gold stars. And this is a guy that is supposed to be capable of being stupendous. England's #1 forward and all the glory that goes along with that. Jurgen Yanuzzi. Again, Massimiliano Faris has marked his potential as much lower. Moves fast on deadline day. Fortunately, it's digital. You have an unlimited amount of time to make these decisions. You are not pressured into them, but that paperwork is tricky. And we got our deals done early on deadline day, but where things could happen for you that are just not good is if you start trying to make deals in the last couple of hours. Based off my experience, you need at least 2 hours to clinch a deal. So if you get inside those last 2 hours, you're probably not going to be able to push a deal all the way through unless it is something that they are absolutely sure about. The same goes for player sales in this instance. You want to take advantage of the fact that everybody is at the table to get these deals done as early as possible so that you're not waiting. Do I want to sell anybody? It's last opportunity for a while. See if we can sell somebody. I've promised them I'm going to win silverware, but I honestly don't know if any of the silverware I have out there to win in Belarus is worth it. Let's see if we can sell Thomas Joe. There's just no reason to have him on the team anymore. Does that mean? No. Enter. Want my Korean goalkeeper Yong Chang-un. There he is. He's on the team. Jurgen Yanuzzi. Such a small player too. So's Jose Leonardo. Signing short people on deadline day. I feel like that doesn't go over well with the assorted masses. You see, when they come in with that speculation, you do have the opportunity. If we can rewind the tape while I'm talking and look at the question I just answered that was asked about Luis Alfonso Londoño. If you are interested in selling the player, you can help that sale process along, saying things like, if there is sufficient and appropriate interest, there might be some movement. I don't want to sell him, so I didn't say that. But if you look at it there, you have a real opportunity to plant the seed in that player's mind that they might be leaving and grease the skis of the other team trying to buy them, saying, hey, they can offer. Every time I'm trying to sell somebody, that is the answer I will provide. See, the scout's working overtime. We get a little report. Woo! I think we only went like 15 minutes there. We just went 2 hours. We really only went like 15 minutes the last time I hit continue. It stops for absolutely everything on deadline day. You can actually turn down the speed if you're worried about it skipping something on deadline day. Go to preferences, and then when you get here, you go to advanced and you drop down to match. You know, speed to process other teams' matches. You set that to normal and it'll be more responsive. The way I understand it, with this thing works. You want to have it on fast so that it's less responsive, but then it'll be more responsive. You don't want to play the matches in the background because I feel like that's just pain. There's just a lot of, that's just unnecessary. It's like playing the full, it's like the people that play the full match, also unnecessary. You need to get checked. I'll offer it as a free service, but you need to get checked. Well, you signed 3 wonderkids. Yay. Well, 2. Jurgen Yanuzzi is not a wonderkid. And you do not have to worry about your registration. It will pop up for you at the end of the deadline day. Other hits and tips for things that I didn't run into in this accidental deadline day video that we have made. One is that if you are in continental competition or you have weirder registration rules, you can pull those up in squad, and then you go to the top left, registration, and then over on the right, it will drop down and show you every competition you're currently involved in. I've already been knocked out of the Champions League in this one, so the only competition I'm involved in that requires registration is right there, and it's the Vishal. But if you are in a collection of different competitions, especially if you're a normal European club, you're competing in continental competition, and you have the summer transfer window coming to an end, you can pull it up. You will be able to see who qualifies as under 21. You will be able to see who qualifies as homegrown. If you can't see who qualifies as homegrown, then you do go over here, homegrown status. You can sort by due date and see the players that are due to be homegrown at some point in the next 3 years, right? And it takes a month or two for people that are at the club to pop up here. But if you were wondering if somebody's going to be homegrown or not, this is where you can find it out. If they meet the deadline and they're homegrown before a registration window closes for a continental or club, domestic competition, then you'll be able to register them as homegrown. They could also be under 21 and homegrown, in which case you still don't have to register them, but you can to meet the requirement, or you can just leave the spot open because who wants to go through the paperwork? Not me. Hate paperwork myself. Thanks for asking that. Your concern is very touching. Honestly, that ending point is probably the most important thing about deadline days. It is your last opportunity to make sure that you comply. If you do not comply, you should loan players out if you don't want to get rid of them forever. Look to sell players, which I don't recommend as much. If the guy's under contract for multiple years, loan them out. And as long as they're not at least a regular starter, they're probably not going to get mad. If they're a squad player, they're not going to be in the 25 registered for the Champions League, which is what I'm just using it as an example. Loan them out on deadline day. You usually can get a quick deal done, and they just bring them back next year and see if they're part of the fold. If they're not, then you can consider selling them. You're not typically going to get your best prices on deadline day unless it's been an ongoing negotiation for some time and you've already talked your way up to a certain point. It's your last chance. Make sure you get it right. Don't fold under the pressure, and don't accidentally wander into it like I did. That's what happens when I'm playing a save for fun. I'm like not even paying attention to what's happening. It's just a machine, and we just feed money into it and they just go. Once you get a save to that point, it's kind of relaxing. I gotta be honest. See you in another video.